guidance on what is expected of you from our examinations. So as I've said earlier, we will not take much of our time, but I believe at the end of this session, we shall have learned one or two things. Remember, the objective of this CPSP course is to produce professionals, those who can take this supply chain to higher level. And that's why we want each and every student of us to do well in these examinations. And that's the reason as to why we have organized for this, and we shall organize for more of such functions. So in our midst, we have, I don't know if there is Sebastian in our midst to say hi to the team, to the group. Sebastian, can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you, Cyprian. Hello, everyone. I'm just happy that you joined this meeting. Nawakaribisha sana. Thank you. Thank you. Back to you, Cyprian.
Thank you, Sebastian. I can see Regina also in our midst. Regina, can you say hi?
Hello everyone, this is Regina Kariuki. I am in examination administration.
Thank you, Regina. So that's part of the staff here at KISEV. So if you have any question, of course, we encourage you to raise those questions in our Q&A, and we will address all of them. So allow me to introduce one of our facilitators during this training. He will take you through what is expected of you, especially in the finance, accounting, and asset management area, plus all the quantitatives is in our midst. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Mr. Muya. Mr. Muya, are you in our midst?
Yeah, thank you, Cyprian. I'm in your midst. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. You can take over, please.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I trust. Karibuni sana.
Thank you.
I trust you can all hear me.
Thank you.
As Cyprian alluded, I'll be taking you through what is expected of you during an examination session. Specifically, we will be looking at, let me put this up. I hope you can see my presentation. Can you all see that?
No.
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 It's not visible.
Not yet.
No.
We give it time.
You have not presented.
Let me do that again. And now?
Not yet.
Let's give it a few minutes, probably.
Yes, sir.
I can see it.
Okay,
You
now.
can see it.
There. Yeah, I can see it.
Clear.
Yes.
Good. As Cyprian said, my name is Moya Kihumba. I'll be taking you through tips for writing CPSP and APS examinations. That's what our presentation will be for today. We'll not take much time, but if you have questions, you can always ask them at any point, or you can send them via chat message. At the end of it all, we will try and answer them. Now, someone said, Maboni matatu, but he said if you use that, will be prosecuted. But there are three key things that are essential to successful writing of KISEB examinations. And these three things are actually three phases. We have the preparation phase that happens before examination. During examination, the performance period, and that's what we'll basically be talking about here. And after examination, what will be the reflection and the next steps that you should do. Now, the first stage, of course, there's no way you're going to write exam successfully if you skip some of the parts. Earlier, before we started, I heard someone say, I can't recall who that was, but he captured it well and said, there's no way you're going to wake up in the morning, you start reading in the morning, and then in the afternoon, you go and sit for a paper. Not unless a defined something happens, we all know what you could be heading to. But the period before examination actually starts way from the time the last exam was sat. If you've not started this preparation phase, the next best time would be now. And this period normally revolves around the time leading up to the examination. And in this phase, you as students, you study, you review, and you get ready for the examination. Not like we are told, you wake up one morning, you start reading, and you go for the examination in the afternoon. There'll be during the examinations, the performance period, and that's what I'll spend most of the time in. And this is the actual time, it's the actual time when students take the examination. And in this time, you apply what you learned by demonstrating not only your knowledge, not only your skills, but competencies and expertise. Because we all know we need to be professional expertise. So that's the time that you prove you're actually up to it. And this is what we shall spend maybe about 40 minutes focusing on. Then, of course, there's the reflection and the next step after the examinations, we would say. And this occurs after the examinations are over. And it is time for relaxation, reflection, in some cases waiting for the results. It is also time, and this is very crucial, to plan for what next in your academic journey. And because I'll not be presenting so much about the after examination, I would want to say that once you've sat for your examination, if it wasn't your last paper, CPSP 3, the last paper, then you shouldn't just relax waiting for results. You should start preparing for the next, for the next work. Let's start with the preparation phase very briefly. And like I said, this phase, the preparation phase, will typically run from the conclusion of the last exam to the week or days preceding the next one. And usually, examinations are 3 times in an year. The last exam was held sometimes in August. Once you've finished sitting for your exams, you should start preparing for the next one. Usually, if you count, you'll find there's anything from 12 to 14 weeks. And you need resources. Again, 3 things. You need the syllabus, you need the study manual, and you need the past papers. Luckily, these resources are actually available in your student's portal. The resources are usually available in your student portal, and you should make use of them. We could look at each one of them briefly. We have the syllabus. And you need to look at the syllabus so that you understand which topics will be covered in the examination. And you use the syllabus to create an outline or a study plan, ensuring that you allocate more time to those areas that you consider challenging. But you can't just decide one topic is a challenging one and you spend all your time in one topic. Again, if you spend all your time in one topic, it is unlikely that you'll be successful. So even though you allocate more time to more challenging areas, you should also try and allocate equal time to all areas because all areas are examinable. Then the study manuals. Just like the syllabus, the study manuals, KSEB have developed some study manuals, and those are available online for you. And these books will help you get an in-depth of what is expected of you. And it is good when you get these manuals or when you have some textbooks that you're using, you follow a structured approach. You cover topics in order that they appear in your syllabus. Sometimes when you do that, you might find that a particular topic has a prerequisite other topic before it. So it's good that you cover them in that particular order. And of course, when you're doing all that, you take notes and highlight key points for quick reference. Papers, again, available on your student portal. They are very, very excellent for practice. They'll help you see what the examiner expects of you. Even though I've stated you start with the older papers and you work your way to more recent ones, it is good that maybe after every topic, if you're able to, you review questions that appear in that particular topic. Once you've attempted the questions, you could analyze your performance and you could learn from the mistakes that you made during your practice examinations. Up to that point, do you have a question? Is everything clear? No question. We could proceed. Now, during the study phase, it's very, very important you create a study schedule. Some of us don't. You need to plan your study sessions. You need to allocate time for each of the subjects or for each of the topics that you are taking. You do not just wake up one morning and you say, today I feel like reading for finance for procurement. Today I don't feel like doing anything. So it's good that you create that time. And by the way, for these mathematical units, the key thing is practice. Because if you don't practice, if you just look at a question once and you don't practice, that will never stick. And I keep on telling gatherings like the one that you're having today, the more you practice, the more you become an expert. And once it is stuck, it sticks in your mind. It's like learning how to ride a bicycle. Once you know it, you know it. But of course, you have to keep on revising. Now, when you plan your study session, you find that this helps you cover all the materials systematically. Of course, you should ensure you have all the textbooks, all the notes, all the resources, and so forth there. You need to set specific goals. The specific goal could be the number of questions that I need to answer within a particular period, or maybe a chapter that I could learn maybe in a week, maybe in a day, and so forth. And considering we have got a very short time between one examination and the next, so you don't say you'll finish one chapter in 1 month. There are minimum of 8 chapters in any of those papers that you are taking. Most of them have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So you should make sure that you clear perhaps a chapter every other week, and you do a number of questions from the past papers. And of course, you score yourself. It is good to be consistent. And when you are consistent, again, you do not wake up in the morning and you cram you cram everything. You don't wake up that very morning. You take regular small study sessions. Let's assume you are in your level 1, you've just started, and one of the papers that you'd have to take is asset management, asset management and managerial accounting. There are about 14 topics in that. You divide those topics into weekly bits. This week, I'm going to cover topic 1, introduction to asset management. Next week, I'm going to cover the next topic and so forth. And when you have any need, seek out for help. I know most of you may not be in any colleges, therefore teachers, tutors may not be there, but you have your peers for clarification. There are so many videos which are available online. They are the study manuals that can help you, all right? And it is very essential that you address any uncertainties that you have in order to be on toes. Of course, I can't overemphasize of taking care of your well-being, but you must also track your progress. Periodically assess how well you are doing with your studies, and you address your schedule or strategies so as to address areas that you may be struggling. Now, this is the area that I really want to handle more during examination. What is your conduct during the examination period? And I'm going to spend quite some time on that, and maybe Cyprian or Sebastian will be taking questions and assisting me answer them, or when we get to the study, to the Q&A session, we'll talk about them. Now, again, here, we have three things. This study period, your conduct during examination, we can divide it into three. The pre-exam. And the pre-exam is just weeks or days before your examination. Then during exam and post-exams. Again, I'm more concerned with during exams. Of course, for pre-exams, we've had students who go to the examination venue or who don't know where the examination venue is. They wait until the last minute to go check out the examination venue. Yet the timetables are sent days earlier on your portal. So it's good you confirm where your examination location is. You take good time to get there so that you can settle without rushing. Of course, it's good to be prepared. You need to have pens, pencils, identification, and you must be familiar with examination rules and guidelines. And of course, try to remain constant. I know people say that the last minute saves a man, but that last minute cramming sometimes don't save you anything. During exam, and this is very crucial to us, read the instructions carefully. Read the instructions carefully. Pay close attention to the examination instructions and make sure you understand the format and any special requirement. And I shall address those instructions again very, very shortly. It's good that you allocate your time wisely for each section or for each question. And if you get stuck in one question for too long, then you might not be able to finish your course in your examination. We have 3 hours, and we have anything between 4 and 7 questions, depending on the level questions that we must answer. So you need to allocate your time very wisely. Of course, be focused, avoid any distractions. And if you encounter a difficult question, there's no rule that says you must start with question 1, all right? You move on to the next one. You come back to the difficult one later, because again, if you spend so much time on one question, you have a set time of 3 hours, you might not be able to finish. Do not bring unauthorized materials. Do not communicate during an examination. And some of those things might lead, Cyprian will tell you, to disqualification from examinations, but do not bring them. Then post-examination, you review our work if you have time. If you check whether there's any omissions and everything. I always encourage students to avoid discussing their exams immediately after they've done it with their colleagues, because it might make you get worried and make you not perform the next one as good as it was. The best thing is to let it go. And you know, once you've sat for the paper, there's nothing that you're going to change. Everything is out of your control, so there's no need for that. During examination is what I said I'll spend time on. What are some of the effective strategies that we can apply to navigate examination questions? As always, start with reading the instructions. Those instructions are in the question paper and also in the examination booklet. Read questions first, all of them. You are scanning through them before you begin, because this can give you a sense of what is ahead, and it help you plan your time and prioritize the questions, which questions to answer first. I always say that answer with the question that you know that you can score most of the marks. If it is question 4 that you know you can score most of the marks, start with question 4. If question 4 will give you 100, okay, it probably will be out of 20 or out of 40 or 60. If it's going to give you 60, start with that. Then move on to the next. And you end up with a question that you know very little about. Again, there's no rule that says you can start with question 1. Pay very close attention to action verbs, and I'll come back again to that, because it provides you clues about what is expected in your responses. Action verbs would be things like compute, describe, compare, explain, outline, all right? And not just action verbs, take note also of the marks allocated in the question, because they'll help you gauge the depth of the answer. When you're answering questions, you make sure you aim for clear and concise responses. Stick to the point and avoid unnecessary elaboration. And it's good to be clear here. I've said unnecessary. If the question requires you to elaborate, please do. All right? And you address what the question asks for and nothing more. It's good to answer all questions. And in actual fact, the first instruction is attempt all questions, even if you're unsure, because, you know, if you left a question paper blank, there's no way you'd be hoping to get marks from a blank booklet. But if you wrote something, there would be hope that not just anything. You know, remember you said you start with the first question that you are sure of. Maybe that was question 2. Then the one you like last would be the one that you've got. Of course, you're hoping that you got ideas for all because you've been preparing. If there's a question, for instance, that is asking about, say, Ethiopia, and you know nothing about Ethiopia, write everything you know about Kenya. Who knows? It might be correct, as opposed to leaving the question blank. We said we start by reading the instruction. This is a paper that was sat in August of 2022, last year. Notice the instruction. We've been told to answer all questions, and all is in bold. We've also been told, we've also been told, see, all. We've also been told about all the marks allocation. You said marks are very important because they'll help you gauge on the marks. And most importantly, you are told not to write anything on the examination paper. Everything should be on the
Mr. Moya, just
Yes,
an interruption a bit.
no problem.
I don't know if you can scroll on your presentation so that students are able to see.
Oh, it's not scrolling.
Yeah, it is not scrolling.
Really?
Yeah.
When did it stop?
I think the first slide.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry for that.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Where are we now? Can you see what I have on mine? I've unshared it. Let me
No.
do it again. Oh, of course, I've unshared it. Let me go back. We see whether we can see it.
So when I'm telling you that something is a 4A,
Can we see it now?
Yes,
Can we?
I can see.
We can see.
you have a 4A.
And now, can we see the next slide that I am on? Can we?
Yes.
We can, eh?
Yes, you
What can
can
we?
see it.
Yes, you can.
It's
Yes, you
processing.
can. Yes.
Would you want me to go back to it, or we continue?
You just continue.
Okay.
Let's continue.
We was. This is where I was, and we were saying about reading the instructions. Okay. Second, confirm for me whether you can see where I am now.
Yes, I can see where you are. I think it's clear. You can proceed.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yes.
we are talking about reading the instructions, and they are extremely important. For instance, we are told that we should answer all questions. We are told not to write anything on this paper. This is actually something that I copied from a past examination. Do not write anything on this paper. Where should everything go? Or on the question paper. That's where you earn marks, not on the question paper. We also said you pay attention to the action verb in each questions, because these are repetition of what I had said earlier, because it provides clues about what is expected in your responses. And action verbs would be things like describe, compare, explain. Additionally, we said you note marks that are located in the question because they'll help you gauge the depth of your answer. Let's look at those action verbs. And by the way, again, if you can't see what I've displayed, you mention, because everything I say, I'll have presented it in a slide. Can we see what we have? We have question 1A and B. In question 1A, what
Mr. Moya, you can scroll it up.
Really, not visible?
Just scroll it up. We can see it, but now where the
Now?
question is. Next slide. I think it should be the next slide from your end.
Mine is what do you have?
What we are reading is I think the instructions, navigating exam questions, reading instructions. That's where we are.
Action verbs?
And we can't see
Now
that.
we are on slide number 26.
What can you read in your slide number 26?
Navigating exam questions, reading instructions.
Okay, so we still haven't, okay, let me see. I'll not make it. And now what can we see? Action verbs?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we can see that.
Yes, you can see it.
What slide can we see now?
Yes.
Can we see question 1?
Yes, we can.
We can't see
Distinguish
question 1.
between the following.
Great. And question 1B?
Describe the following types of different share capital.
Great. On the two questions, which is the action verb here? Who will tell us the action verb?
Distinguish.
Distinguish. and describe. Of course, you know what to distinguish is to do. To distinguish is to tell one from the other. It's more like, it's a narrow version of compare. And you notice we have got two terms, primary data and secondary data. To describe is to state what we've got there. Now, if I were to answer that question, I have two solutions. I have alternative 1 and I have alternative 2. All right. I had 2. Yes, I have 1. Can you read through? Who will read through to me? Cyprian, you can pick someone to read it for me.
I can see Faith. Faith, can you read for us what is on the screen? Faith?
Primary data is first-hand information collected for specific research, often through methods like surveys, interviews tailored to the research objectives for increased accuracy.
All right, then.
Secondary data is pre-existing information gathered from sources like books and reports, not collected for the current research, and can be cost-effective but may not align perfectly with research needs.
Good, thank you. That's one way of describing, and this will give you the marks. Remember, this was giving you 2 marks. All right? And the other, so you'll have 1 for each. What if we had something like that? Notice we have more wording than what we had earlier, and that's just primary data. Can we all notice that? And then we come to secondary data. If you load all that, and I'm not saying you shouldn't write what is sufficient, all I'm saying is that we should be specific. If you compared the 2 answers, alternative 1, it is short, precise, and to the point. In actual fact, I could even give narrow information and score all the marks as opposed to giving all this large information. Let's go to another question. Who will read what we can see on our slides? Cyprian, again, you can pick someone for me. Can we see our next slide, and who could read it for me?
Anyone ready to read for us?
Yes.
I can see Vincent. Vincent, please.
Yeah. Give 3 reasons. Give 3 reasons supply chain practitioners should have business statistics knowledge. Then B, outline 4 trends in the development of information and communication technology with regard to business statistics.
All right, thank you. Now, if you are to answer question 4A and B, what kind of information would you give? And kindly note the marks that has been allocated for each one of them. 1, we are to give 3 reasons, 6 marks, and the other, we are to outline 4 reasons, but you're getting fewer marks. 1, we are to give fewer reasons, but getting more marks. The other, we are to outline, we are to give four threads, but getting equal 4 marks. How would you answer this question? Anybody? Let's start with question 3. How would you answer it? Again, Cyprian, you will pick someone for me.
Any volunteer?
I think
Yes.
Yes,
We
please.
can start by you state the reason and then you explain the reason. So that is like 2 marks. You state you state and you explain.
And what of part B?
In part B, I think you only give you outline the trends. You just it's
The
like
trends,
an
isn't it?
yeah.
All right. Thank you very
Yes.
much. I agree with you, because perhaps this is question 3A that was giving you 6 marks. Do you think you would score 6 marks if you only gave this information the way it is?
No.
You'll get half of the marks, is it? But if we stated and explained which of the two, the first candidate or the second candidate, will score all the marks?
The second candidate.
The second candidate.
I did notice the explanation is not so much. Now, let's move on. In finance, statistics, and those papers, they are computational or they are math related. And correctly applying relevant formula is very crucial for you to earn marks. There are some students, some of these things you can actually do them by calculator and you give the final answer. In actual fact, calculators are allowed. But if you do not show your steps, if you do not know the formula, you are likely.
Mr. Muya,
Yes.
you haven't answered how we can answer the question, the second part about the trends.
This one?
Yeah.
My friend of mine answered. He said, I can't quite remember his name. He said, for question 3A, you state and you explain. For question 4, you just state because it is asking you to outline. Is it better now?
Okay. Yeah, okay, sir.
Or you wanted an answer?
Not an answer. I just wanted to know if I just outline and I will get my 4 marks.
Yeah, you will outline and you get your 4 marks. For instance, if
what about if I give the three, I just state and maybe I never knew how to explain. Will I get my 3 marks because it is out of 6?
yes, for stating you'll get a mark.
Okay.
Like this one, for instance, the one that is displayed is question 3A. This candidate will get half the marks because there were 6, he've only stated or she've only stated. But the second candidate will get all the marks because not only have they stated, but they've also explained it. But note what the action verb was. The action verb was give. To give is actually to outline, but we said what should guide you is the verb and the marks. So you don't just leave the verb alone, you take the verb and you consider the marks.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
This is Abraham.
Yes, Abraham.
I have a question in relation to question 4B that says the outline 4 trends. So is there harm when you outline the 4, you give the 4 answers,
yes,
but you go ahead again and explain? Is there harm?
Well, there will be no harm in relation to marks that you are going to earn. If they are correct, you'll get the 4 marks. But what about the time? You should balance. You should really try and balance. Well, it's good to try and give a brief explanation. It's okay because they said outright. One of the threads is perhaps development of, say, big data. You may explain it by one word, or application of artificial intelligence. Meetings. Previously, such meetings were never possible online. But after COVID, we see we are able to meet online. That's a trend. If it was, but is it related to business statistics? Yes, you can outline and you give a brief description, not paragraphs.
Mr. Munya, we can't hear you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karibu.
I have a question here, Mr.
All
Moya.
right. All right, and please introduce yourself.
My name is Magolo Victor.
All right, Peter.
Victor is my name.
Victor,
I just
Victor.
wanted to, yes, Victor.
Yes.
On question number 4B,
Mm-hmm.
the question tells us to outline 4 trends.
Yes.
So here is my case scenario.
Yes.
I have outlined 5 of them,
Yes.
but now you realize when you are now doing the marking,
Yes.
number 4 is not correct.
All right.
The number 5 is correct.
All right.
In that case, what will be the marking formula?
Let me ask you, what would you do? Let me throw the question back to you. What would you do?
Yes.
Yourself, what would you do?
I'll award the 5th one and I'll give the 4 marks.
All right. All right. All right. What do you think that would be the correct thing?
No, that's why I'm asking your guidance.
You are not sure. Sometimes it's not. If you asked for 3, sometimes you don't give 3. I'll go to the olden days when my mother would say nipatie, okay, translated from my mother tongue, nipatie 1 piece of firewood. If you just blot 1, even though that's what she said, you'd be in for trouble. You'd ensure that if you are told to bring 1 piece of firewood, of course, when it is stated in my mother tongue, it will come even, there's some translation which is lost in the meaning. You don't just, there's a meaning which is lost in the translation. You don't just bring 1. You bring several.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
I hope that is answered.
Not clearly.
Victor?
Not clearly.
Okay.
I just want to confirm whether the 4 marks will be awarded to such a candidate.
I didn't hear that.
Just want to confirm whether the candidate will score the 4 marks, even though number 4 in his or her answers was wrong.
Now, supposing, I'll still throw the question to you. Supposing the examiner wanted 4.
Yes.
And you give
5.
100.
Yes.
99 were wrong, but the 100 one was correct. Do you think the examiner will even get the 100 one?
Not really.
But when they are 4?
We will check the 4.
Well, we leave it at that. But sometimes when the question is very, very specific,
yes.
It's good to start with the very, very fast answers, because if perhaps you are guessing, but it's unlikely you lose marks when you state the correct thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. We had gone to the computational or maths related questions. It's good that you state the formula, because the formula will give you some marks. It's good you showed your... Yes, please.
I'm saying, I don't know, do we allow our students to raise the question at the end of it, or because I'm seeing...
Actually, I thought we let them raise at the end of it all.
Because I'm seeing Elawan is also raising up his hand.
Because I'm almost finishing this presentation.
Yes.
Actually, I would encourage those students to set the questions to you, then at the end of it all, we'll finish.
Okay, well, good. I
Yes.
think you follow that?
Yeah, so
we'll respond to all the questions, so worry not.
Good. So all questions will be set them, they'll be responded, so that I had planned this for actually 40 minutes, 20 minutes for questions, but you're about 8 minutes off. Show your workings. I was saying, sometimes you can do these values in the calculator or offhand, and you write the answer. But the answer will not carry all the marks. It will carry part of the marks. So if you just show the answer, you'll have lost some of the marks. The answer could be correct, and sometimes you could show your working, but somewhere along the way you miss a step and you do not get all the marks. All right? When we could try to mute. So sometimes the answer could be correct, could be incorrect, but it was because you missed some steps. You'll get the marks for the steps that you carried out. You normally get marks for showing the formula, for showing your workings, for unit annotations. You know, sometimes when we are young, when you're in high school or when you're in primary school, we could be asked, you could say the answer is 4. And the teacher would ask, for what? All right, for what? So it could be 4 units, it could be 4 shillings, it could be 20 liters, it could be anything. Yeah? And still on units, be very careful when the units are in either the accuracy of those. Accuracy is quote unquote. There are some figures you'll see in thousands. And when it comes to, unfortunately, I didn't share something close to that. But when it comes to the additional information, you notice it is not written in thousands. It's given as it is. I didn't have such an example immediately, but it's good you take care of that. Double check your calculations, because sometimes we tend to make small mistakes, but if you double checked, you'll find that those are mistakes somewhere, and you will get it correct. Then label your answers. We might have questionnaire, like the question that we had earlier, if I could go back to it. Not that one. This one. You see, this is question 1, but question 1 have got multiple parts. We can actually say that question 1 has got 5 questions. So it's good that you label your questions. This is question 1A. This is question 1A Roman 1. This is question 1B Roman 3, as opposed to when you leave them unlabeled. So always ensure you've labeled your work. And of course, during the practice will of course come before you sit for the examination. You practice all the time. I've got a final question here. Who will tell us what we expected to compute? Will tell us what you expected to compute?
Okay, you are expecting to compute profitability index and net present value.
Great. And to compute is actually an action verb. And when you're answering, I've not provided an answer for this question, but when you are answering this question, please note to compute profitability index, there's a formula for profitability index. Provide for it. There's a formula and I think I have it, for net present value. Provide for them, because they'll give you marks. So provide, I've not done the computation, but I've shown the formulas, because, and these actually, I think I should correct these. No, it's correct. You show the formula and then you show your workings. When I was talking about the accuracy, I was talking of these shillings, thousands, all right? And then after the examination, I had talked about this, and that's when you plan to move on for your next phase of things. That's the end of my presentation. Do we have questions?
We have a question.
All right. Now, before we
My
go
name
to
is
that,
Abba.
did we have some questions that were sent to you so that we can answer them in order that they came?
Yeah, there are several questions I've received.
Yes.
And I don't know whether we should start with those ones before we allow other more from participants.
Let's start with those ones.
We can start with the ones in the chat.
The ones
So,
that came up, then we allow the participant to set them.
yeah. The first question, I think, is from Rachel Muturi. She's asking, are there past papers that have answers, rather marking schemes that will show us how we ought to answer questions? I think you can allow me to answer that.
Please do.
That, of course, in your portal, student portal, we have all the past papers and all, in fact, we don't have the marking scheme per se, but you have the exam reports. And those reports are the ones that is communicating to students what was expected of them. So each sitting, each and every sitting that you've had, beginning with the last year's December, we have reports for each and every sitting. So we advise our students, kindly be visiting your portals and go through those reports because it communicates, it gives you feedback on what was expected of you. So the second question comes from Jacob Kipsaina. You are asking, why are we not allowed to go with question papers after exam completion? That's a challenging one. Now, the answer is, I don't know, maybe if I can ask you, why do you want that question paper anyway after the exam? Because as the presenter has made it clear that you don't need to revisit the past paper once it has been done. What you do is just prepare for the next paper. Because at the end of it, if you look at our examination reports, the questions are always there, are always given, plus their possible responses, that is the expected responses. So I don't think if there is need for the question paper per se, but anyway, another reason is for security purposes. Let me just be specific on that. And then Grace, you're asking, section 1 has not, I don't know, I guess you meant part 1. You have not uploaded category management manuals or notes. Yeah, that is true. Now, Grace, if you look at your student portal, we have all the notes uploaded. The only two notes for 2 units that you've not uploaded, that is category management, the one you have specified, and then we have operations management, of which we are working on them. Soon and very soon we shall upload them. They are just on their final stages of approval, and then we will upload it. The only two, but the rest of the study guides are there in our portal. So if you visit your portal, you'll be able to access all those questions. And then there is somebody called Lokwawi. You're asking, we are not allowed to go with the question. I think I've answered that question. Then there is Abraham. Abraham, you're saying, why are some centers not using common KISEB examination booklets? Some centers end up informing examination candidates about the centers not meeting quorum during examinations, dates, and inconvenient. I think for Abraham, if you have any question on selection of the centers, kindly just email us. We will be able to address that issue. If any question on booking, exam booking, kindly just email. We will address it. About the examination booklets, we always have our examination booklets in our exam centers. They're always there. But just in case they are over, of course, you have to continue with the examinations. But I don't think they can ever be over. If you are provided with our sisters' examination bodies booklets, just proceed answering questions in those booklets. We will mark, as long as we've done the question, it will be marked. Be assured of that. So I think I've answered most of those questions. Somebody's asking, Jerry, you're asking if you're requesting if the slides can be shared with you. Can that be possible, Moya?
Yes, it's possible. I'll set them, you'll get them and then maybe send to the students.
Yeah, we will make arrangements on how you'll get those slides. Thank you for that response. And then there is Jacob Kipsana, you're asking, when marking the examination, do you have another second to view what has been marked? Maybe you can try and answer that. When marking the examination, do you have another second to view what has been marked?
To review?
Yeah, to review what has been marked.
Well, I believe there's chance for marking, and two, when there'll always be I wouldn't really want to go because I'm never there anyway. But what happens is that there will always be someone to review, either to calculate the marks to see whether they were done properly. But if you're unhappy with the marks that you got, you could always ask for remarking. There's the provision for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Maybe I can add on what you said. Of course, there are steps. When you're doing the markings, you have steps that are followed. There are some procedures that we follow. So I can assure you, we are talking of second review. We even have the third review of what has been marked, because it is done by several people to ensure that what you've scored is actually your marks. But if you are not satisfied, still there's room for remarking. You can apply for remarking and your paper will be reviewed. So I think those are the questions in the chat box. If there are more questions, I'm seeing people raising up their hands. We can start with Abraham Sheikh. Abraham Sheikh, please ask your question.
I think you've already answered what I was about to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Vincent. Your question?
Yeah, I want you to help me understand how to answer some case study questions.
Case study questions. Okay, thank you. I'm seeing Onesimus. Do you have another question? Onesimus?
Yes, my question relates to the attachments.
Attachments.
Yes. Now, you realize at times there are students may be doing the examinations while maybe this is the candidate is employed. But then by the time the student completes the units and is assigned for attachment, maybe this person has lost employment. And you see you have to go back again and apply for attachment. Now, given the purpose of an attachment, that you have to be exposed to the work environment so that your work habits and ethics could be also be assessed, then of what value is it for an employee who has worked for maybe more than 5 years to go back for internship for attachment?
Yeah, your question is well received. Now, I'm seeing there are so many questions, and allow me to introduce the last, our second speaker, who is the last one. Then we shall answer all those other questions that are pending. I've noted them down. We'll answer all of them. Muya, is that okay?
Can reply to them some other times if they said the questions.
Yeah, we will respond to all the questions. So because of time, kindly allow me to introduce our next speaker. I hope he's in the room so that he can take us through the bit that has been asked. I'm seeing somebody has asked a question on case study questions. How do you answer them? So allow me to introduce Sami. Sami, are you in our midst?
Yes, I am, Cyprian.
Yes. The floor is yours, please. The floor is yours.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Tell me, what's the baddest thing you've ever done?
So thank you once again. My name is Sami Odari, and I'll be doing the second part of the presentation. Now, I'm audible. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Oh, yes.
Okay, fine. So, thank you, Mr. Muya, for setting the bar so high in telling us what what is needed. So, what you're going to look at, what is on your screen so that we make sure that you are in tandem. What can you see on your screen?
Objectives of CPSP and APS.
Okay, great. Now, when I was asked to give this presentation, I was told that some of you probably have tried to do the exams. You have not succeeded. Some of you are thinking of giving up, but we were also supposed to encourage you that indeed you can make it. Now, it is said that people think that death at times is the greatest tragedy to ever befall you. I don't know how many of you think that death is the greatest tragedy, but indeed, there's something worse than that, which is actually you dying without fulfilling your dreams. You have set out to do your CPSP exams, things are not going well, and you decide to quit. It will be such a shame. So do not die without fulfilling the dreams of elevating supply chain and getting your CPSP qualification. So the objective of these exams are usually, when you notice that the type of questions that usually are asked, they are meant to have what you call job ready candidates. They are meant not only to test the knowledge, but largely to test the competencies, that which you're able to do. Now, it is important that you know, probably I give you a sneak peek of what goes into the development of these exams. Normally, they're designed to have as much practice as possible. This means that when you're practicing or when you're working, your knowledge of the practice is likely to give you an upper hand when answering these questions, because you'll be able to apply these concepts. These questions, in most cases, are developed in a number of ways. Usually, you have practitioners, you have academicians are involved, you'll have test development experts who are involved. So really, you'll not make it through guesswork. Basically, what I'm also telling you is that you really have to put the time and prepare yourself thoroughly. Now, my colleague has talked about a number of items. Some of them have already been touched on, but a key thing to focus on when you'll be answering this question, it is always important for you to know the structure of the paper that you are sitting for. Part 3 questions, you have these categorizations of the action verbs, those that are testing your knowledge and comprehension, those that are testing application and analysis, those that are testing synthesis and evaluation. So when, let's say you're in part 3 CPSP, you'll know that the paper is structured to have 10% knowledge, 30% application and analysis, and 60% synthesis and analysis. These are the higher cognitive abilities that you need to have. So it is important that you take note of the structure of these papers. So these are some of the verbs that are usually used when you're being asked or you're being assessed. For example, when you're told to describe something, you're being told to give a full account of something. When you're told to suggest, this is a higher cognitive ability. This is where you are being tested on your synthesis and evaluation. So you're told to give a considered opinion, that which is most appropriate in a particular scenario. We then have the verb discuss. Here you're being told to consider something by writing it from different points of view. On the other hand, we have explain. In explain, you're being told to give reasons for or account for something. So it is very important for you to understand what is the stem, what is the command word that you're being asked in most cases. We then have outline. This is a knowledge and comprehension type of a question. We are being told to give the main features of something. When you're told to examine something, you're being told to provide both a description and an explanation of something. So both the description as well as the explanation of something. When you're told to analyze, it means that you're being told to assess a topic with thoughts and judgments about it. So for you to gain higher marks, you will be needed to convince the markers that you are competent, that you're able to assess something with thoughts as well as judgments. Evaluate, you've probably met it. With evaluation, you're being told to judge the value of something. While identify just means a listing of something separately. So probably you're ready to, so it is important that you have an idea of the structure of this paper. So how do you increase your chances of success when you're doing these exams? The next sitting is in December 2023. You roughly have about how many months? Probably 2 months at most. So you may use these tips and strategies. Number one, by asking yourself, how much time do you have? So you need to plan backwards, assuming that this is the date of the exam. This will be affected by the number of units that you're taking. So probably if you are taking 5 units, you'll probably need to be more consistent and spare out time to read daily. It is those small steps that really count. The second thing is to embrace the syllabus. I'm sure you all have copies of the syllabus. Normally, the exam will test 80% coverage of the syllabus. This is basically what you call an irreducible minimum. No paper, and I challenge you, you can assess. If you look at the tests questions, all of them cover 80% of the syllabus. So this means that when you're revising, on the date when you step into the exam room, you must ensure that you have covered 80% of the syllabus. When you look at the syllabus, it is important for you to map out what you know and what you do not know, because we will never be ready for exams. Time is limited. It is best you look at the syllabus and see which areas are you competent or you know something about. Those ones you can leave them for studying later on towards the end, because you can still scrap off something and get some points. While the areas that you're totally blank, that is where you must focus and put all your attention on. So you must also map out your time, looking at how much time do you have, how much do you need to do daily, consistently, so that you get there. Some of you may have the privilege of having groups, study groups. Some of you may think that groups will slow you down. Others think that groups are good, but the use of groups enables you to also better prepare for these exams. Explaining to others. There's a gentleman known as Confucius. He was an ancient Chinese philosopher who stated that when he sees, he hears, he forgets, he sees, he remembers, and when you do, you understand. So if you can have the groups and you're able to teach to somebody, you're more likely to pass. The other issue is about writing your own notes. Yes, you have the syllabus, probably you've printed it out, but Nothing is as good as your own personal notes. So apart from having the syllabus, jotting down these notes is actually quite important because when you're writing notes, it deepens the neural paths in the brain and you're able to better remember what you are studying. For example, those of you, you'll remember that the units or the courses that you studied in which you attended class and you wrote notes, you probably will perform far much better than the units that you took a PDF and probably tried to read it at the last moment. So your personal notes are very important. Lastly, you can also use colors. Colors, they make reading exciting. Having a pink highlighter, yellow highlighter will be good to, they look good and you'll be able to better respond. So here is a sample response that you have. So this also addresses what is expected of the candidate. These exams are quite unique when you compare with the SIPS examinations before the syllabus review, CPSP, etc. So there is no shortcut really with these exams. You might ask yourself, can you pass these exams by reading only past papers? Highly unlikely that you're going to neglect the syllabus, other reference materials, focus on past papers and make it. Yes, they're in your portal, they are to guide you, but without reading the syllabus, you are less likely to make it. So we have a question here that is borrowed from sustainable supply chain management. So this is just to tell you what is expected of you. So the question is, identify 5 barriers to implementing sustainable supply chain management practices in an organization. The first thing to take notice of is the action verb. You're being told to identify. So here, what you're expected to do is basically provide a brief description of those obstacles that will inhibit an organization from implementing sustainable supply chain management practices. Now, in such a question, as you've been told, the marks will guide you on the level of details. A mention with a brief description, in this case, will be quite adequate. So look at the first response, lack of awareness or knowledge. So many organizations may lack awareness or knowledge about sustainable supply chain management practices and their benefits. That is one barrier. So with this, you're most likely going to get 1 mark. The second question that you might want to look at is about analyzing. Analyzing is an application and analysis question. Somebody had asked, how do you answer a case study question? So this question here is asking you to analyze 5 enablers of sustainable supply chain management programs at Future Tech Limited. So this is a case study on Future Tech Limited. Now, a good approach to answering this type of question will be, first of all, for you to define what an enabler is. So it's the goodness with this approach is that it settles your mind. It composes you. You don't dive into what are these enablers. So first of all, you'll be concerned with defining what an enabler is, which you're being told is a factor that creates conditions favorable to effective and efficient introduction, implementation, and acceptance of sustainable supply chain management. So that is the first part. You have defined what an enabler is. Then we go to the second part where you're required to analyze these enablers. Analysis is about critically examining. Unfortunately, this is not what is seen when students at times are responding to these questions. Uh, at times they are quite brief and not at times well thought out too. So you'll be required to identify the enabler in that case and then proceed to critically examine it. So good responses normally define a concept. So if you're dealing with, let's say, global logistics, define the concept first. It is important. It enables you to be settled and be composed, and you're likely to perform much, much better. So this is one of the enablers in that case. One of the enablers is commitment from top management. So this is what you're expected to write at part 3. This is a level of detail that you're supposed to be prepared for. This is what the examiners are looking out for. So you're being told as an enabler, a clear commitment to sustainability from top management is essential for the successful implementation of sustainable supply chain management programs. This includes providing the necessary resources, setting sustainability goals, holding the organizational accountable for achieving them. This is critical because of the 2 main divisions and 180 subsidiaries across 87 countries and 66 production facilities that require to have unified supply chain sustainability vision. When you look at the end of this question, one important thing is contextualizing it. So when you contextualize the response, is that how will commitment from top management be useful in this case study organization? It will be useful because they need to set out these policies in 180 subsidiaries. This means you have read the case study in 87 countries and across 66 production facilities. So this type of question will definitely get you merit marks. This is a strong response that is also contextualizing the case. So I'm almost done, but before I end it here, I'll leave you with a small story that you might be aware of. Sometimes in the 18th century, across Europe and later in the Americas, there was a certain disease that spread, ravaging and killing people. It was called purple fever. Probably you've heard about it, or the Black Death of childbed. So what used to happen is that when mothers used to deliver their children, soon after, they would, within a very short period, few hours, 6 hours or so, they are likely they would die. So it was really a pandemic. 6 hours after childbirth, the woman and the mother died, is buried. So what eventually happened was that it was later found out that the reason for these deaths was that the same doctors who were performing autopsies in the morning, so these women will die in the evening, and in the morning, these doctors will go and perform autopsies on them. And later on in the evening, that same afternoon, they will proceed to provide or to deliver women and their babies. So eventually it was found out that the reason why these women were dying in numbers was because of the doctors themselves. The doctors were the reason of the death of these women. They were not washing their hands, sterilizing equipments before they proceed to deliver these women. What am I telling you? What is the point of this story? At times, the problem is you and me. You might be considering that probably the examiner is unfair. You've deliberately been failed, that KISEB is not fair to you. That is why I think some of you are saying that can we review, can we have probably booklets, such kind of things. So at times, what I'm saying is that if we plan ourselves well, we make our strategies right. The challenge at times is us. At times we're not preparing enough. At times we're not reading enough. We are not consulting enough. So let's be honest. Let us work hard. Take the advice that is given, and I'm sure you will be perfectly okay. What I can tell you for sure is that KISEB has a lot of faith in each one of you. That is what I know. By interactions with them, I've always seen that worry, that concern when people do not perform well, right from the CEO to the very lower levels of KISEB. They're really concerned and they really want you guys to pass. I wish you'll know how much faith they have in you. So it is really up to you. So thank you for attending. And I think that I've come to the end of the presentation. So back to you, moderator.
Thank you, Sami, for that wonderful presentation. I think we really appreciate your presentation, you together with Muya. We really appreciate what you've done for us. So before we proceed, I think allow me to acknowledge the presence of our CEO is also in our midst. CEO, welcome. So at this point, allow me to welcome any questions that maybe you could be having before we can conclude this session. Anybody with a question, please? Anyone with a question?
I have a question.
Yes, Abraham, proceed.
I wanted to ask in relation to appeal for remarking. Is the door still open for remarking, or just someone can just register for that paper that he or she wants to receive for the December series?
Thank you for that. I've noted your question. We will respond to it. Any other question?
Thanks, Cyprian. I have a question.
Yes, Duncan.
Mine is, I cannot say it's a question, but maybe a comment. From the last sitting that we had, I did my exam at Kitale National Polytechnic, and I found that where the exam room, it was next to a workshop, whereby during the session, you find that there were noise all over. So maybe if you can have a look at the examination centers and the rooms where we are doing the exams, and the room was a hall, and sometimes you could find that it was raining. Yeah, so maybe if you can have a look at that. Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback, Duncan. We've noted that. I think it's good that our CEO is in the middle, so he has also noted that. Any other question? Any other question?
Question here.
Sorry, who's talking?
Abraham here.
Abraham.
I think my question is just related on what Duncan has said. I used to register my exam in Mwangaza College in Nakuru, but because of where I work currently, I decided to take it in Lodwar. So what happened? I just wanted to echo what Duncan has said in terms of the facilities that we use for examination. So for this case in Lodwar, we were using a church, and you understand that Lodwar is a outer region. So even the chairs, the armchairs that you are using, they are not comfortable enough they are not comfortable in terms of how they have been made for someone to use for an examination. So it is important that whenever you allocate these examination centers, there should be an assessment before the actual examination sitting for the students. Thank you.
Well noted, Abraham. Thank you for your concern. We can take a few more, like 2, before we respond.
My name is Onesimus. Huh?
Yes, Onesimus.
My question again relates to attachments. In case it is a requirement that if you are provided with an activity log, you are supposed to document the activities you do for every day from Monday to Friday. That's 5 days in a week. Now, assuming you get a place for attachment that requires you to go for only 2 days in a week, is that acceptable to listen?
Okay, thank you, Onesimus, for your question. Thank you very much. One more before we respond. So silence means we are okay. So allow me to answer just one, then I'll invite the CEO. Maybe we'll also answer a few of those questions. Clara, you had asked a question on how case study questions can be responded to. I don't know. I hope you got your answer. Clara Ruto, did you get your answer?
Yes, I got it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then somebody asked a question on appeal for remarking. Okay, usually we have policies around the marking itself. And after, if I may get it right, after 14 days, that is 2 weeks, once the result has been released, that is the period stipulated for any appeal for remarking. After that, the window closes and there's no more appeal for that. So always stick to our examination policy. It is very well stipulated on when the appeal should be submitted and for how long it takes before we receive any other appeal. So be careful with the timelines that are there. Be very careful with the timelines that are there. And the more questions that are there, I think I'll allow our CEO, maybe if he's in the room, maybe he can respond to some of those questions. Our CEO, please, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Cyprian. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me first of all appreciate really for turning up for this. I think the question that I've got that Cyprian has invited me to respond to is on IBL and the duration. I'll respond to that. But before I speak about it, I wish to really appreciate the feedback. That is how we will improve our systems and our processes. We take note of the conditions of the examination centers. We will discuss with our partners and alleviate the dire. If we need to change, we will change. In terms of the IBL duration, you know, CPSPK, APSK are qualifications which are regulated. They're registered by the Kenya National Qualification Authority. And there are certain standards that we've signed up to for us to maintain the accreditation with them. For that reason, it is important for students and everyone to know that the requirement for IBL is 480 hours. So that if you have a challenge in terms of the number of days that the host organization has recommended for you, you forward that letter to us. Let us know, write to us, let us know. And then, of course, we will advise. There's a way we will advise the host supervisor and the host organization to work around that. So let us know, please, because in terms of duration, we must adhere to the standards that we've signed up to. I think that is answered. Was there any other question that I needed to answer, Cyprian?
I think, thank you, C. I think you've answered all the question, just apart from the concerns that have been raised, which you've answered it clearly. Maybe we can allow one more or two more last questions before we can close the meeting. I'm seeing Jacob asking, is CPSPK equivalent with
as we wait for that question, let me let the students know, or the candidates know, that I don't know whether you informed them that our pass rate improved from the 2015 curriculum compared to 2021 curriculum. Our pass rate moved from 55% to 80%. Currently, our pass rate is 80%. So that is why we thought we should invite you over and try and see whether we can give you tips here and there to just enhance your progression so that you can get certified. I hope that message was communicated. If it was not, then let participants know, let candidates know that the pass rate as it is currently is 80%.
Thank you, CEO, for that information. We had not told them, but it's good that they are now informed fully. Thank you for that.
Sorry?
Sorry?
Does it mean it was implemented during the August series exam?
We've not got your question clearly, Abraham. Kindly
Okay,
repeat.
mine is in relation to the pass rate that the CEO has just communicated to us.
Yes.
Mine was to ask when did it start implementation in terms of did it start after 2021 or when did it start as the pass rate for the examination?
Maybe the CEO will clarify that. So maybe you didn't get it clearly.
Oh, okay. Let me clarify that.
Yes.
The pass mark is 50%, as always, 50%. All professional exams and because you call the criterion based, it is either you pass or you fail. They are always 50%. That is the pass mark. What I'm talking about is in terms of the number of people registered who are passing the exam to progress. At the moment, people are passing CPSPK, and that is why we are here to encourage you to put more effort, learn more tips, and then, of course, gain the skills so that you can progress to the next level. I hope I'm clear now.
Abraham, please confirm. Is it clear now?
That's okay. That's okay.
Thank you. Steve, I can see you have raised your hands up. You have a question for us? Steve Ndogo? We can invite Grant Komora. Grant Komora, you have a question? I'm seeing your hand.
I'm Grant.
Yes.
Mine was just a suggestion. The payment of the exams in the portal it's not seamless as before. So kindly do something.
That is well noted.
Okay.
CEO, you're saying something, sorry?
Yes, it's okay. Just for general information, because I've seen others inquiring about M-Pesa. The government is centralizing the payment, so people will be paying through eCitizen. We will communicate once that integration is complete. So we are not allowed to take any money through M-Pesa, as you may be aware. That is why we have those slight challenges, but we will be sorting them by the end of next week. We will be clear how to use eCitizen, and we will communicate.
Thank you. I hope you've got your response. So I'm seeing two more hands here. One from Clara Ruto. Clara Ruto, you have a question for us?
I have a comment.
A comment, please.
The last sitting was very difficult. Can't you just be lenient with us? You people mnatumaliza.
We've noted your concern. Then Abdi Fatah Ibrahim.
Yes, thank you. I'm Abdi Fatah.
Yes.
I take this opportunity actually to applaud and congratulate you, team, for having such kind of forum for us. Because some of us we are senior member of CPSP, but this is my first time to be in such kind of a forum. So we are encouraging that if you can have this kind of platform in future, that will give us the strength and understanding of this CPSP course sufficiently. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Thank you. We've taken it, note of it. I'm seeing so many hands being raised. I don't know if you can allow just the last two because we are running out of time. We start with Sylvester. Sylvester?
Yeah,
You have a
good
question?
afternoon. Yes, a comment.
Yes, please.
Yes, thanks for such arrangement. Mine is just to inquire on. I joined a bit later, so if you could kindly help and share this presentation, will be helpful some of us kindly.
Thank you, Sylvester. We will make arrangements to share the presentation with you people. We already have your contact, so worry not. That one will make arrangement on it. Heren, have a question for us?
Yes, I have a question. For how long is one allowed to redo the same paper? Like you have done a paper maybe for how long? The same paper, like maybe asset and something. For how long? Maybe you have tried this one, you have failed. So maybe 5, 2, 3. How long?
Thank you for your question. I think it will be responded to. Akinyi, you have a question?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for this session. This is the first time we are having it since we started sitting for these papers. Mine is just on the IBL program. In my own view, I find the program is not suitable for those ones who are already in employment. If they can have an alternative format for the ones who are on employment as opposed to the students who are in class. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. You have noted it. Maybe the last one, Gladwell, Kyoko.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Proceed your question.
Okay, mine is, I want to be a bit vulnerable. What I want to say is there's a paper I have done twice, that is asset management and all that, and I'm sure maybe I'm not the only one. So I was requesting if the body of examination can consider, especially when you do one paper twice or 3 times, like now I'm yet to do a 3rd time, if you can be considering people like that you can just give them a pass. You know, when you do a paper once, twice, you have tried your best, especially being a professional. Maybe, I don't know how that take is, and also I'll go back to the question that was asked. How many attempts can somebody do?
Thank you, Gladwell, for that question. The last one, Maria Mumo.
Yes, thank you for this section. I humbly appreciate. Okay, mine I was asking about the receipt. How much are we supposed to pay for the receipt per paper? And are we supposed to pay for the nini? Hiyo pesa ya kuregister again. Are we supposed to register again? For alafu, these times of exams, can we have cards to split the marks, pass mark of the papers?
Thank you, Maria, for your question. So allow me to invite our CEO maybe to respond to some of those questions. CEO, please.
Thank you, Cyprian. I thought you were supposed to take some, but it's okay. Let me start with the duration of studentship. In terms of our policy, the maximum period one is supposed to, if you look at your booklets 6.5, is that you have a maximum of 4 years to complete the course, because this course can be completed within 1 year. That is CPSPK, can be done within 1 year. So you have a maximum of 4 years. Now, in terms of how many times can one take a paper, a receipt, that debate was there in the last curriculum. We took that proposal to the board that once somebody has taken a paper 3 times, let them pass, but it was rejected. So I don't think they can reconsider that again, but for now we don't have such a policy. Okay, we had tried it, we had tried that proposal, but it didn't work out with the board. I think those are the ones I needed to respond to. Was there another one? IBL. In terms of IBL, we take note of those ideas in terms of revision, so that in the next curriculum, we may consider other options other than IBL. But I remember that for now, IBL is what the stakeholders wanted us to do, because it is aligned with the requirement of government in terms of apprenticeship. And to be honest, in terms of the real practice, the practitioners are still not practicing procurement to the levels that the government and the organizations expect. So there are certain things that we examine that are not necessarily in the practice. We examine about 25 competencies. If you get a good host supervisor, and also in terms of external assessor, those are the things we look for. You as a student, for now, you may not realize, but there are certain critical competencies that we examine in IBL. Some of them, I am sure you don't do them in everyday work. So IBL is critical. It is important for both those who practice, and it is more important for those who are joining the practice. So for now, of course, there is nothing we can do, because that is a syllabus and we must prescribe it to everybody the same level. Now, moving forward, we'll consider those suggestions. We have other suggestions. What can we do other than IBL? We may have to look at that as we do our review of the syllabus. Thank you. Is there a question I've left out? I hope I've responded to all your questions. Cyprian?
So at this point, I don't think if there's any other question, because I'm not seeing any hand being raised up. We are not closing the question and answer session, but we still have the Q&A section. You can post there your question. You can post there your question. I'm seeing so many hands being raised. Can we take like the last few, because we want to end this session at exactly 4. We can take 2 more, and then we close it. Viola, you have a question? A burning one. Viola? Or Felix, I can see you have unmuted yourself. Go ahead, Felix. Felix? Okay, Viola. Then there is Grant, there is Steve. I don't know if there's any one of you with a question.
I never get the answer to how many times one can redo a paper.
I never got the answer to how many times one can redo a paper.
many times can one do a paper?
Redo.
Or
After I
redo
failed the first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the objective of this exam is not really
The
to make
objective of
somebody.
this exam.
Somebody should mute your mic, please. So I'm saying this, the objective is not to make you fail the exam, but is to make you get the competencies that is required of this supply chain profession. So you can try as many times as you can, as long as you pass. But I think that question was answered very well by our CEO. You did answer it very
Yes,
well,
okay.
very well.
Having network issues, but it's okay. Thank you.
Okay. Lydia, you have a question?
There are some on chat.
Oh, there are some on chats.
On chat.
Okay.
Oh,
So Lydia is
there are
saying
some
to
on
me,
chats.
allow me to read the ones
Okay.
which are
So
on the
Lydia is saying
chat.
to me, allow me to read the ones which are on the chat.
So on the chat we can see.
So on the
Lydia
chat we
says,
can see.
can somebody mute your mic, please? Yes. Thank you.
Please, yes. Thank you.
Yes, can I ask you, please?
Okay, go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, go ahead and ask your question.
I've seen the papers the way they said. Are you getting me?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
I've did a NEC exam and I've seen some question has got options. For example, you might be told question 1 do A and B, or do any 2 of question B and there are 3. But in CPSP exams, you must do all the questions. I don't know why is it like that.
Thank you, Abdi, for your question.
Thank you, Abdi, for your question.
You have another
And
one,
my
please.
second question.
Yes. We can't hear you.
Of the paper, but sometimes it can happen you write one side.
Abdi, I don't know if you can repeat your question because you've not heard it.
What?
Repeat your question because you've not heard it.
I said answer booklet. One of the instruction of the answer booklet says the student must write both sides of the paper. Answer booklet. So sometimes it can happen you write only one side. How will it affect?
You have another question, or that's all?
You have another question, or that's all?
That's all. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You've noted that. So let me read what is in the.
You noted that. So let me read what is in the.
Abdi, can you mute your mic, please? Thank you. So in the chat, there is Francis asking, can I register for only one paper per city? Then there is somebody, Gladwell, asking, currently, how do I pay for the DECA examination? Still use M-Pesa or wait for eCitizen to be launched? Then there is Abraham, you're asking, consider Turkana University College as an examination center for Lodwar, that is Turkana County. Then Lydia, you're asking, can we be allowed to have the IBL with other units? Maybe I can answer one and then I'll allow the CEO to answer the rest of the question. I can answer a few of those questions. Number one, Lydia, if I answer your question, according to our policy, we encourage students to do the IBL program after they are done with their coursework. Ideally, that should be the situation, that you finish your course or your papers. Then once you're done with your papers, then you can enroll for the IBL program. But if you have any question, if that condition cannot favor you, please write to us through our examinations at CPSP, and then we'll get back to you for more guidance. And then Somebody asked a question on answering question in the booklets. Okay, it doesn't matter how you write, whether you write on both sides. Of course, the instruction says you should write on both sides of the paper. But what is important is, have you answered all the questions as required? We encourage our students to write on both sides of the papers and at the same time to answer all the questions. So whether you write on both sides or one side, remember all the questions that are in the booklet will be marked. So that one should not really worry you. Then you've also asked something on having optional questions. So if I may answer you, remember you talked of that being a NEC examination. This is KISEB. And of course, our exams have policies and they have structures that has been approved by the board. So we can't go against it. And there is a reason as to why we encourage our students to answer all the questions. So that, remember, one of our presenters, if I may, if you did get it right, Sammy said that all the papers that you sit for, the syllabus coverage is at least 80%, at least 80% of the syllabus coverage is contained in that paper. Meaning, we are interested in you getting the maximum competencies out of the papers you are giving out. That's the reason as to why we don't have that optional parts. Okay. So allow me to invite the CEO, maybe he can respond to a few more questions that are pending. CEO, welcome.
Let me invite Sebastian if he's there to answer and a few questions, and then I'll come back.
Okay.
Sebastian or Regina, if you're on, please answer.
Okay, Daktari, I'm here. I think I'll answer the question on payments. For now, we don't have to wait for payments via the e-citizen, that is M-Pesa. We can deposit our fee through the national bank accounts that I think we've put, but we'll still repost on this chat. And also you can check on our emails because you have communicated. It's also on our website. So kindly just pay. You can pay from the pay bill number for the bank, so long as you deposit the cash into a KISEB account. You can also do a transfer, then ensure that you share with our info at kiseb.or.ke so that we can process your payments. Thank you.
Thank you, Sebastian. Regina, I don't know if you're in the meeting so that you can answer Abraham's question on whether Turkana can be considered as an exam center for Turkana County.
Okay, thank you, Cyprian. Yes, I've seen Abraham asking whether you can consider Turkana University College. I think we take that into consideration in future, but currently we have, I think it's called Turkana Business Studies as the center in Rodwa. Thank you.
Thank you, Regina. Anything you've left out, maybe?
Okay, I can inform people the registration for examination is currently going on. The deadline is on 3rd November. So kindly take note of the deadline and register. For those asking about exemption application, they are on process. Normally, they are approved after the examination deadline, but that should not stop you from applying for examinations. So please apply for examinations on time. For the new students, ensure you have downloaded your exam timetable, individual timetable on time. Don't call us on the exam day and ask to be sent the timetable. That is also one way of knowing your payment has gone through. It will reflect immediately once the receipt has been issued. Thank you.
Thank you, Regina, for that communication. And I think in the chat I've seen Sebastian has also posted, we have also posted the account number. So if you want to make any payment, the advice is there. just go through the chat, you'll get the communication.
If I can put in the last word in terms of then as you close the meeting,
please.
just for students, especially the one who was asking about writing both sides. Generally, we are training and we are administering curriculum for professionalism. It is critical that the trainees and all the people that we are going through once always train themselves to follow instructions unless it is extremely difficult. But my advice to you candidates is that you should always practice to follow instructions because it counts towards professionalism. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that advice. I think our students have got the advice clearly. Now, at this point, remember what you've said. One of the presenters mentioned the key things that you need to have. That is the syllabus. The past papers are there in our portals. The exams reports are there in our portal also. The study guides are also there. I think I explained that. So I think you have all the materials that you need to help you prepare for these exams. We wish you the very best as you prepare for the December holiday. And if in case you have any question, please just email us. We will respond to it. Otherwise, thank you, the facilitators, and thank you all of us for turning up for this meeting. And on behalf of our CEO, I want to wish you the very best. Thank you so much, and bye.